After the Hatfield Historical Society recognized that they only had a handful of records during the 1918 to 1919 Spanish flu pandemic, they decided to launch a website to collect stories and artifacts from residents living in Hatfield during the COVID-19 pandemic. I spoke with Magay Baker, the collections assistant for the Hatfield Historical Museum, to learn more about this collection and to also hear how a group of elementary school students contributed their stories as well.
Kathy Gow is the curator of the Historical Society, and when everything shut down in March of 2020, we had to stay home. And so it was through bits of email and texting and so on. But really, Kathy's initiative as the curator of the museum to realize that we're living in really historic times and to put up this website to collect the stories of how people in and around Hatfield are dealing with it. So there's things up there that are artwork that people did, or haiku that people have written, or just reflections from various people living in Hatfield about how they're getting through.
One area that has been greatly affected by the pandemic has been education, and a group of 36 students from the Hatfield Elementary School participated in a year-long project titled My History that added their experience to this COVID-19 project. How did this project come about?
This started with Kathy talking to the teachers at the elementary school, which is conveniently pretty much across a big lawn from the museum. And so Kathy talked to two of the teachers there, Jenny Charette and Megan Millett, who were the sixth grade teachers, to be really forthright. This is amazing times. This is history project that they do in sixth grade. Usually it involves interviewing someone about their childhood or researching a time in history that the student is interested in. But the teachers and Kathy acknowledge that right now is a time of history that's really important, and that the opportunity to have a bunch of sixth grade students collect the images and data and stories of their voices and their experience is just amazing.
This pandemic has been something that is once in a lifetime for many of us, and you met with the students when they visited the Historical Society. What guidance or support did they receive for this history project?
One of the things that really struck me is the work of the teachers, and also, of course, the parents when the students were learning at home, to use every avenue possible to help these students collect their stories and to give them support to contextualize their experiences in a way that allowed them to think more analytically about what they were going through and to really reflect on what mattered and what they wanted to convey forward, to put in a historical context and what they might want someone to look back on 100 years from now.
What were the students' reactions when approached with this project? Were they able to really fully grasp this historical moment and reflect on this moment that they are living in?
They really were aware of it. And I think that part of that speaks to the teachers, but it also very strongly speaks to the students' ability to step up and recognize, like, oh, this is big. Because the sort of breadth of the projects, ranging from, how do I put more kindness in the world when I am unable to be around everyone? And how do I document what my family's going through? There were students that were really, really aware of political movements going on through 2020 and through 2021, looking at the wider world and realizing that this is a global pandemic and really connecting their own experience in Hatfield to the state and the country and the world.
You were just touching on the breadth of the work of these students and the range. Some are digital images, videos, posters, the acts of kindness. Which submission has really stood out to you the most?
Oh, goodness. That's a little bit like saying you choose your favorite kid. But over and over, the two themes that really touched me were the theme of kindness and care, and the sense that they had that they were part of something, that they had a desire for this to send a message forward. The awareness that these sixth grade students had of how might this help someone 100 years from now. And they want people to know how hard this was for them, like the honesty in that. And that really, really comes through in their work. Those two things, that they're concerned and they want people to be safe because this was hard.
One of the photos that really stuck out to me when I was looking at the website was the sign of the Smith Academy with the return to school date continuously pushed back. And it felt like we had so much hope that school was going to be back in session. Which photo do you think will be iconic years from now that really encapsulates the moment that we're living through?
Wow, that's a really great question. The image of a masked face and the little signs we see everywhere that says, 6 feet distance, keep 6 feet distant. And the phrase social distancing is so potent. I definitely think that's going to be historically relevant. Pictures of a Zoom screen is going to be really relevant. But I think in terms of like an image that conveys the emotional impact, for me, is spaces of emptiness where there's nobody playing on the playground. Any of the images that convey that longing for connection and recognizing the loss of it.
Why is it so important to document the past and also engage young people in doing so as well?
It matters because we only see a keyhole into history. It's impossible to encapsulate everything that has happened. Even with a very well-documented public event. And in ways, the COVID pandemic has been an extremely well-documented public event. But the private lived experience is puts a whole other nuance in it. It's so much more informative in a way of what was it like for these people to live through this time. And especially in context with what you said at the beginning of recognizing the absence of those pieces in the 1918-1919 flu pandemic, the chance now to capture those and keep them so that we would have those records going forward. Every museum around was aware of that.
Do you get the sense that the students are proud of this work that they've been doing?
I do. Yeah, I do. This project gave them a way to process what they were going through while they were going through it. That they had a framework of like, oh, this is a thing that's happening. I have a school assignment that addresses this. So I feel like these specific children will have a little bit more ease coming out the other side and a little more resilience because they'll already have done a little bit of processing of this is what happened, this is what my town went through, this is what I went through, this is how I documented it. And to me, one of the most telling pieces of that is where a child wrote, I made 9 pieces for this, but I kept 5, because it matters to them that they keep it for their own history as well.